everybody, and welcome back to the Females Thriving Over 30 podcast. Today, we have a very special guest called Moflete. He's in the back. Now, he's pretending that he's not listening and he doesn't want to be in the podcast, but he was ready, camera ready in there.
He was there.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to say about this topic, clearly.
Yes,
Oh,
he
look.
is. Look at him. Oh, okay, now he's having a shower now. We'll give him his privacy. Let's see. Let me move. He decided to move as well. Anyway, we sidetrack as usual because that's what we do in this podcast. But welcome to our Valentine's special episode. I think this is going to be one of the very first episodes that we are actually doing in real time. And with real time, I mean, we're recording the same week that we are uploading. So, how are you, Jasmine? Because now whatever we tell is actually relevant and is happening the moment.
I'm good. I'm cozy. I'm in my fleecy hoodie, feeling very, very cozy. And it's like 20 to 9 whilst we're recording right now. We always record quite late. And
Yeah.
I'm like a tired girl. I get tired. So I'm powering through. I have a Coke still. It's a bit late to be drinking it, but it's giving me the caffeine to get through
Yeah.
this.
So is it
How are you?
is it cold up there where you are?
Cold?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very very cold. Mm.
Yeah.
I
Is it
I
cold for
felt like
you?
this week has been like quite. I'll describe it as crisp. And you
Mm,
get out on the street and it's like my skin hurts.
yes, my friends. Me and my mum are really similar in the fact that like my mum has very skinny fingers. My mum's the same, and my mum's got really bad circulation, and her hands now, mum's hands literally go like white and numb, and when she's out in the cold from bad circulation. I'm not quite there yet. Mine still just gets so cold.
Okay, I lost you for a second there. The sound went again quite robotic. So let's see when we listen this back. I hope it's gonna be okay.
To confirm that I'm not a robot. For some reason, my microphone is
Yeah,
dying to turn me into one. So let's hope that you can hear me okay.
yeah. I don't know. I think you have to be static. You cannot move. You cannot make any movements or anything. You're just gonna have Jasmine tied to a chair in the same position, not being able to move, so she can talk and we can hear her.
I'm too expressive. I need to be kept in one spot. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
I
see.
don't really know what is happening. We've tried with two different microphones, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I think if someone is listening, can someone? What internet provider do you have?
Sky.
Okay, whoever works at Sky, please go and fix Jasmine's internet so she has super speed
Hmm.
and we don't run into issues like this because
Well,
poor her, she's gonna not being able to be herself in these recordings.
I actually think they've put fibre optic into the village now. So
Oh,
we need to get on that. We need to contact the provider.
yeah.
But before that, we didn't even have that. Like, it's just my village doesn't have a shop. It doesn't have anything. It's literally one road in the middle of nowhere. So my internet has always been bad. But hopefully now I can upgrade.
Okay, so yes, we need to get Jasmine into the fiber optic of her town where she lives so we are able to have good recordings. We're also hoping that the sound as I'm hearing it now is not exactly the same as the one that is being recorded as of now in her computer. We're gonna be good. So we apologize in advance if at the end is quite robotic. But I'm good. Cold but not as cold as you. But oh, my back is killing me. My leg is really, 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 really bad. This endometriosis
Oh,
is like killing me. So I've not been having the best of weeks. So going tomorrow for a chiropractor and see if they can maybe do something. Maybe they just need to like readjust something and maybe magically will be good.
it was bad when we last spoke as well. So
Hmm.
and it's not stopped. It's just been a
No, it's been back
continuation.
since beginning of January, like nonstop every
Oh,
day. I have to
yeah.
take some painkillers, and I'm just like, I don't want to be living taking painkillers every day, you know.
No.
Well,
Well, let's hope my microphone gets fixed, your back gets fixed.
yeah.
We are going to be new women next week.
Yes, yes, that's the goal. But anyway, as I said, we sidetrack all the time. But as a part of the Valentine special, we wanted to do, like we always like to explore things and we just want to bring you fun stories. So, because you guys know that Jasmine is married to her childhood sweetheart, I have been in a relationship now for almost 10 years. I was thinking, you know what? It would be so interesting to compare what it was dating when we were younger, aka when Jasmine last dated, and when I was dating before I got with my fiance. How are women dating right now? How are they navigating the dating world after 30? So we're going to have a guest after this little story time that we are just going to go through. So, like lots of things have happened. Lots of technology has been introduced and the dating game has changed big time. So, Jasmine, do you remember how you used to flirt, how you used to go on dates, how you used to ask someone out when you were, in your teens, when it's
School.
20 something years ago?
So, um, I guess I would meet people through school
Hmm.
or through parties with
Parties?
like, yeah, yeah. So I was big on the party scene from when I was about 14.
Of course,
So,
yeah. I remember all your emo looks and all of you. Yeah, 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 yeah. I do remember that. Hmm.
oh yeah, gigs, meet them at like indie gigs. Yeah, so I feel like at that point you just meet people through people because there are so many people. There are so many single people because of your age, and people are in and out of relationships constantly at that age. Um, I guess aren't they when you're in your teens, most people. So very just organically. MSN probably. You know
MSN,
that
yeah.
MSN. I mean, you know that my memory's not good.
But although
So
MSN, sorry guys, in MSN you needed to have someone's
yeah.
info, right? It's not like who's this person that just pops into my MSN. So you still had to know of
Mhm.
him somehow or someone kind of like recommending as if he was just like telling you, oh yeah, why don't you add this and this person to your MSN?
Yeah, so I guess it would be like people from school, people that I'd met at parties or whatever that I then had on MSN that then might, I guess it's sliding into your DMs, but in old school fashion that might make their move on MSN, maybe. I don't ever remember, I don't think I've ever asked anybody ever, if I remember rightly. I probably like made it clear if I liked somebody. I don't remember ever actually asking anyone, but um I'm sure it'd probably have been quite obvious. I don't think I was very mysterious or discreet, to be honest.
Okay, so we know that Jasmine was the kind of girl that is like, if you want to be with me, you come to me. I'll send you like a signal inviting you to come ask me out. You know what I remember at school, same as you, like at school, right? And I remember in class sending us little notes, so like really small papers, and just like talking to each other through notes. It's like, do you like this and this? Yes or no? And you had to vote, and you just have to pass like the note in there. And then sometimes you would just do it that way. Did you do that as well?
Yes, I'm thinking about it. Like friends are very involved at that time, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah,
your friend
matchmakers.
knows that you like somebody, and then they're like, just make a scene about it, and that's how people found out. I feel like, yeah. So it's much more organic. I feel like probably childish when you're at school, isn't it? So it's not something I would advise people do in their adult lives. But that it was just how the job got done, didn't it? Everything
Yeah,
kept secret.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. That's basically what it was. Like everybody will know who you like. It was, yeah. And you better make sure that the teacher didn't find the note because then otherwise she will read it out loud to the whole
Yeah.
class. and then everybody will know what was happening over there. So, whenever you went on a date, did you date it before your husband?
Yeah, I guess looking back now, probably not really, right? I had boyfriends. They were very much like boyfriends that you have when you're a young teen, you know, like went to the cinema together, things like that, like
The cinema, yeah.
more like things you would do with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I
Yeah, yeah,
guess
no,
like
absolutely.
looking back,
That was basically the main place, the cinema. We're
yeah,
just gonna go watch
yeah,
a movie, and then you just go to the
yeah,
cinema. And I don't know in your case, but usually it was not just me and the guy.
yes,
It was like
group.
with the friends as well. And
Hmm.
then you were like, oh, we
Yeah,
need to make sure that we sit together. And it was just like
yeah,
there was no conversation really.
yeah,
We were just
yeah,
watching the movie and then waiting for like the hands to touch
yeah, yeah. The
and things like
suspense.
that. And then, how do you say it? Because I always get in trouble with certain terms. But is making out is just kissing?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you make out in the cinema,
Hmm.
kind of like breaking
Hmm.
your necks because obviously you're ne- next to each other. You didn't watch the movie at all. So you
Yeah,
usually always choose like a scary movie or like some kind of movie that you don't really care
yeah,
if you watch or not.
yeah.
But do you have any fun story or do you remember what your first date with your husband was?
Yes.
Tell
Yeah.
us.
So we met so actually, okay, here's the story. So I didn't realize this, I don't think, straight away. I actually met my husband a year prior to when I met my husband at a party. And I met him there, and I remember now looking back after the party, I was like, oh, who was he? Like, I was interested, I wanted to know more about this person when I met him at the party the first time. And I think he said he was kind of the same, but then we didn't see each other for like a year. We met at a party, and that was it. And then I don't even think I knew it was him when I first met him. I don't remember how we ever figured out that it was the case. Um, but when I met him the second time, my friend was going on a date with his friend. They were talking to each other. And she said, I'm going to see somebody that I'm talking to, and he's bringing a friend. Will you come? So that is how we met. It was very organic. We both went. We then were inseparable. From that day that I met him, don't think we spent a day apart. Like we just, because of the age we were at, we saw
Oh.
each other every single day. And just when I think one of our first proper dates when he like took me out on a date was at Nando's. Um,
Well, that's cute. I mean, that's an upgrade from McDonald's, right? That's
yeah,
much better.
yeah. And then afterwards he was like, let's go in the pub for a drink because he was 18 just and I was
Oh.
17. I was like, they're gonna know, not gonna let me. So I think we ended up going to the shop and buying like some bottles of cider and then going back to his parents' house and having a drink there because I didn't want to go in the pub because I was still only 17. And then yeah, I used to just get the bus to his house after school. And I was in sixth form still. He was already working because he left sixth form early, even though so he was a year above me at school. And then yeah, I used to go there straight after school. I'd be straight on the bus to him. I'd spend the evening with him, and then he would walk me over to the bus stop and wait with me until I was on the bus to go home. And it's so funny now because when I go and visit his mum, she's still in the same house. And I was
Oh,
there with Amelia and I looked out the window and the bus stop still and I was like, just said to her, like, Daddy used to wait with Mummy there when I was getting the bus back home after I'd been to school. It's so funny.
that's so cute
Um,
though.
yeah, so yeah. And then that was it. And then so it wasn't like we met and then started dating. It was like we met and we just liked each other. I guess we were dating, but we just
Yeah.
spent a lot of time together.
There was no courting or
Uh,
anything like that. It was
yeah,
instant love.
yeah.
Oh,
And
I
it
love
worked
that.
out.
I love that. I was not that lucky. Not that lucky.
So tell me your story. I wanna hear, like, tell me before you met your fiance and then when you met.
So as I said, like I was gonna say, like I had a lot of boyfriends, but I didn't. I have a lot of long term boyfriends. You know, like most of my
Hmm.
boyfriends were like had like a 6 year relationship, then like a 3 year relationship, then were like the
Yeah.
relationship I am now. But I remember like when I was younger, it was the same thing as I said. Like, you know, because I mean, younger when I was like 14, like first time that you go out is always to the cinema and stuff. Then with that boyfriend that I was with for 6 years, it was just like we met in festivities of a town and stuff. So it was just like, no, it was on the street. We were just on the street all the time. I mean, we've talked about this when we were younger, right?
Yeah.
We were on the street all the time. So you're just like in parks and then you're just like drinking and stuff. And there's a lot of people around. And that's how you met people as
Mhm.
well, right?
Yeah.
I went on Tinder dates when I moved to the UK. So because I moved to the UK, I had a boyfriend and then we broke up like a couple of months after I moved. So then after that was like, okay, let's go on Tinder. I think you know the people that is now on Tinder is not as bad as when I went on Tinder for the first time. I think it was like when Tinder was kind of like starting, but still it was not great. I
Mhm.
remember going once to a date with this guy. He was like a doctor or something like that, or you know, training for a doctor. And he came to pick me up in his car. And one thing that I always did is like the first thing is like a really nice car and just taking a photo of the plate and sending it to my friends just in case I go missing,
Mhm.
right? Just get into
Mhm.
someone's car. And we went to the
Good
cinema
idea.
and I was like, this kind of like brings me back to be 14 and just going to the cinema on a date. And I remember sitting there and you have the adverts at the beginning before the movie starts. There was like I don't even know what advert it was, but it had the song Diamonds by Rihanna. I was just watch looking at the screen and then suddenly I feel his lips close to my ear and then he goes, "Shine bright like a diamond." And he starts singing the song to me.
Same ever.
Let's say that the rest of the day it was awkward because I was just like, this is
Thank
odd.
God you couldn't talk anymore.
I was like, this is odd. Like why is this happening? And yeah, let's say that I didn't have really good luck with apps or anything like that with many of the guys that I went on dates with. And I met my fiance at cheerleading.
I think you might have told me this actually.
Yeah.
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 Again, organic. It was an
Yeah.
organic meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in a cheerleading team here. And I guess or like the story that I've been told, I don't know if he will corroborate this story. Is like obviously I had a friend in there and we were taking photos all the time and uploading them to Facebook, and he saw me on one of her photos and she's like, "Your friend is cute, introduce us." And my friend was like, "No, sorry, no." So what did he do? He joined the team.
This commitment. This is how you knew he was going to be a keeper. That is commitment.
Yeah, he knew. He just joined the team, and then he was my base. I was a flyer, so he was my base. He was just like chucking me in the air and stuff. And I always say this, and it's like he has his hands around me in many places before we even went on a date for the first time. So because obviously they need to catch you and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it was interesting, but I feel like I don't know. I mean, we're gonna be chatting now with Amy about
Mhm.
navigating the dating world right now. I think I dodged a big bullet by not being in those apps for much longer, and in a way, finding someone that I'm going to be married to. But I've heard horror stories about dating nowadays. I feel like the technology right now is not just dating apps, it's also Instagram, right? Back then when we were younger, the only thing that was like similar to that was not even Facebook, because Facebook was like, I think it was in
Mhm.
I obviously I'm older than you. I was in my 20s when Facebook came about, right? So there was no really a way to message someone that you just saw on a photo with a friend and is tagged into the photo and you manage to talk to that person before you have to actually do the work and just find out who that person was and talking to your friend and like beg for that
Mhm.
person's number or whatever. Even text messages, like back then we had a character limit. Otherwise, we were going to be charged for more messages, right? So you needed to be quite clever and smart in what words would you want to use to make sure that your message was delivered in just one message because you had no more money for two messages. So I don't know. I think people had to put more effort in back in the day, where now it's like it's free for all, I feel.
Yeah, and the thing that we've talked about in the past about just generally life, like when we talked about young people with like careers and everything, there's just too much choice. Like when you can go on Instagram and scroll and find everybody,
Mm-hmm.
like imagine you could just mass spam message loads of people you're interested in on
Absolutely.
Instagram and see who responds.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even
Um,
nowadays, like you see, like people are on relationships, but then they are like stalking other women.
yeah.
Back then, it was, I mean, yeah, you could, but you actually have to physically be there to stalk the person.
It's very true. Like, do the rules need to change on what is classed as stalking, to be honest? Yeah. I have one more thing to add about the doctor that you went on a date
Oh, yeah.
with. I'm just thinking that I hope that if I ever need to go in for any surgery or something where I'm going to get put to sleep, that he's not my doctor. Because can you imagine? You're going under in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Jump right
jump like a
like a
diamond.
diamond. Like that song, when I hear it, I cannot think about anything else. Just hip.
I feel like you should just be scarred.
I'm just like that song is
That's
just like
yeah.
I literally I can just feel like like his breath in my ear. Like I could just
Um,
feel the whole thing, and I was like, this is a bit scary.
yeah, that's very forward. Very forward.
Yeah, not great. So, I mean, we just wanted to do this kind of introduction before we let our next guest in, who is here already waiting in the lobby.
Hey.
So, I think we're going to let her in,
Mhm.
and we are just going to go through a lot of questions that we have and hopefully like really fun stories. So, let's go and let Amy in.
How are you? How are you doing?
We're good. We just started like we just talked about our dating stories when we were obviously like Jasmine has been with her husband since she's 17. So she has a different perspective of dating, right? To the perspective that I have, and definitely the perspective that you have
Yes.
currently going through this dating world in today's society. So, as I said, we're having Amy today with us on the podcast, but we have not done any introduction, and we will love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Amy Stanley. I'm currently 29, but I'm turning the big 30 in 4 days' time, which just sounds so crazy. I'm not going to lie, I was really skeptical about turning 30, but everyone that I've spoken to so far has said that the 30s are the best years of your life. So I
Yeah.
am ready to welcome this decade in. I work in the aviation industry, so I get to travel all around the world, which is amazing. I'm also a published author, and I've been competing in pageants for 10 years and came away with my dream title in August last year, which is Miss Regency International.
Amazing. I mean, obviously, working in aviation, you're traveling around the world. I hope there is so many stories about that you're going to tell us.
I have so many different stories. I always wanted to travel and work in aviation, but I never had the confidence, especially in my young 20s. So I worked my way up within the fashion industry. So I got to a really comfortable place. So I got my apartment. And then at the age of 28, I was like, right, okay, I'm in a good place in life. Now I'm ready to take the leap and apply. And I'm not going to lie, applied for my dream airline, didn't think I'd get the job on the first go, and then I was lucky enough to. But it's such an incredible and rewarding career because I get to meet people from all around the world, and it's amazing when you wake up on a Monday morning and you're on the beach in the Caribbean and you're thinking, oh my god, I'm actually to be doing it right now, which is crazy.
I'm thinking now, like you're traveling the world, like surely you just have the pick of all the men. Like, is this made dating easier?
It's in my eyes, it's made it a little bit more difficult. just because obviously when you do have the dating apps, people will look on your profile and see, oh, she works in aviation, therefore she's probably just here for a layover, and they just assume. So it does make it a little bit harder. However, that being said, there's a lot of lovely pilots within this industry. I can complain. And I'm not going to lie, I'm an individual that's attracted to intelligence. So you can give me the looks, but if there's nothing behind the looks, I'm sorry, I'm not attracted to you. And if someone can hold a conversation, is knowledgeable, intelligent, I can have a deep conversation with them, that's a win-win for me. Love it.
So I feel like now, even if you leave your current job,
Yeah,
you're still gonna, hopefully, by the end of this, still have free flights for the rest of your life, really, with your
well,
pilot husband.
I would love to. That would just be the absolute dream for me.
I had to say, it's true. Like I have seen like, waiting at airports and then you see some pilots and you're like, oh my God, they're so dreamy.
Exactly.
So
It's not bad to work in.
yeah, exactly. So obviously, like we were just talking about when I first moved to the UK and I use apps like, well, I only use Tinder. I didn't use any other one. I used Tinder. I feel like it's changed a lot since I was 27. I think that was
Yeah.
the last time that I used the app. So almost 10 years ago, I'm going to be 37 this year, to what it is now. So how do you feel right now that these dating apps are helping? Are they helping you actually to meet real people, or is just people that are just looking for a hookup and that's it?
I not long ago actually gave up with them because initially when I first went into the aviation industry, I was like, this is so exciting. I'm going to meet so many people around the world. I could meet my dream husband, blah, blah, blah. I think the issue with them, and this is why I don't like them, is because it's like you're putting a kid in a sweet shop. And what's a kid going to do when a kid's in a sweet shop? It's going to want all the sweets, or it's going to think there's a better sweet. Whereas if you meet somebody organically, then you're limiting the options and then you're having a chance to grow that organic relationship. And that's what I think the world's missing these days. I would much rather meet someone, whether it be in a work environment, in a park, in a library, in a coffee shop. I mean, I met my very first boyfriend on a train. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like that's sometimes when you find someone and you least expect it, that's the best way, rather than just aimlessly scrolling, going yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then potentially you could meet them, you could go on a date with them, and then later on down the line, they're just like, oh, yeah, sorry, I'm not interested. And then next thing you know, they've posted on Instagram they're with someone else. And then you feel like you're not worthy. And we should all feel worthy.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's
I was just literally saying before we got you on,
yeah.
because we've talked about this before in the podcast as well, about other things in life, but I think with technology we can see like everything that's going on in the world, all the people. And I was saying the same thing. I just think now you can scroll on Instagram, and if you slide in someone's DMs and they're not interested, you can just scroll on to the next post and there'll be somebody else you can try. I mean, it is like, if you're not actually thinking about a relationship as the
Yeah.
whole package of what a relationship is, and you're just looking for people you're attracted to, there
Yeah.
are endless amounts of attractive people in the world that you can
Yeah.
find. And are people actually giving the time, like enough time and attention, like you say, to get to know people, or are we losing the real elements of what a relationship actually is?
Yeah. And I think everything on dating apps, similar to Instagram, a lot of it is heavily filtered, and not just for women these days. I've seen men filtering themselves as well.
Oh,
And yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. For example, this wasn't recently. This must have been about like a year or so ago when I was on the apps and I came across somebody that I knew, and I remember looking, thinking, you don't look like that in real life. Definitely put a cheeky filter on that.
and I feel also like now in the using the apps is so easy to catfish, and not just
Yeah.
using these filters, but using someone else's photos, because obviously everything is accessible to anyone right now with your Instagram. If you have a public Instagram, they can create like a fake profile and try to, get girls or men, you know, like, and how scary is that?
I think that's really scary, to think that there could be people out there that may be using your photos and they genuinely think they're chatting to someone and they genuinely think they're building a relationship with someone, only for that, I don't know whether you're going to call them a catfish or a scammer or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call them, then ghost them weeks later, because then that other person never knew. And that's actually quite heartbreaking.
And can you imagine that they find you on the street and they're like, "You ghosted me, you never talked," and you're like, "What?"
That wasn't me. Yeah.
Never thought
There,
about that, but that's scary.
there was a documentary, and I can't think of the name of it, what it's called, and I don't know if you've seen it. And it was on Netflix, and it was about how there was this woman and her own cousin
Mhm.
actually our profile just to try and make her happy for, I think it was about like 5 years,
5
and then it came clean, yeah, and then she actually pressed charges against her cousin because it took away so much of her life.
5
Yeah, I've
years.
seen that. And she goes to the man's house. She
Yeah,
finds where the man lives and goes to his house, and his wife and child are there.
Oh,
yeah,
And
the
she's
real guy.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And she thinks it's him, and she's like accusing him of like, "You've been talking to me," and they're really confused. And it was like
Yeah.
the cousin's ex-boyfriend's brother or something
Yeah.
like that, whose photo she'd used. It was like somebody she had known in the past. But yeah, I've seen that, and it also made me think of the Tinder swindler thing
Oh my
as
god,
well.
yes.
And because that was his pictures, but the fact that you can create a whole persona, you can like lie about
Yeah.
your job and
Mhm.
like that doctor that you went on a date with.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we've just been talking about a date that she had before where he started singing in a whispering romantic way in a Riadraw in a film. Was he even a doctor? Who
Oh, yeah,
knows?
who
He could have
knows?
just said
Who
it. He
knows?
could have been a singer.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why he sang the song. He
And
was not a doctor, he was all fake.
that reminds me, I love a good documentary on Netflix, girls. I'm not going to lie, I'm a sucker for a documentary. And there was one about a guy similar. He claimed he was a doctor and he claimed that he was single and that he traveled the world. And then obviously I think she got like a private investigator, or she did some digging and she found his house in Spain with the wife and the children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Whole
yeah.
other life that he had just been hiding.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I think that is one of the things that makes it quite um it's not scary, but kind of like, I don't know, if I had to start dating again, I would be very skeptical of anything that I see online. And I don't know if now you just said like it's really nice to try to meet people organically and talk, but do you feel that because of the apps and the way that is now easy to chat to everybody on the phone behind the screen, they're not seeing you, you have time to think what you're going to say, you can sound more clever and stuff, that now when you meet people face to face it's awkward and not everybody knows how to flirt and how to interact with people?
Yeah. And I think with the rise of like TikTok and things like that, and this is going to sound so bizarre, but people have so many more icks than they ever did before. Like I know there's my friends, and give it 5 or 10 years ago, they would have been like, oh, there's only 3 things in a guy that give me the ick, and now they're like, oh no, I've got about 15. And I'm thinking, wow, so a guy could literally say something small and now apparently it's your ick because of some trend, and you're not even going to give the poor fella the time of day.
Yeah, so it's making it even more difficult now to even like
Yeah.
find a person because everybody has red flags and icks and everything. Jasmine, you were so lucky that you found your man so early. Because can you imagine trying to date now?
No, I think I'd be really, really rubbish at it. I'm going to be honest. If somebody told me I had to go and flirt with somebody now, I would not know what to do, to be quite honest. So
Me
thank
neither.
God, because I wouldn't say would be impressed with me. Especially now, like you say that, I feel like we are programmed by things like TikTok, Instagram. I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like there's so many beliefs that people now have that have just been drilled into them from seeing things.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I think there's a certain expectation, or maybe we see people, I guess there's more to compare yourself to, which might make people feel like, oh, I could never be like that. Or, like you say, might have things that people talk about. I know quite a lot of people, especially when you're older, tell me whether this is a thing. So when you're older, obviously, when I met my husband, I didn't think about like anything other than him as a person because I wasn't old enough to be considering other things. Another thing of dating older is it's hard to navigate people's people's jobs, income, whether they have debt, whether they own a house or live with their parents. Like they're all things that I never even thought about, obviously. I know a lot of people now, like a lot of my friends wouldn't consider somebody if they didn't have a certain type of job, which I always find really interesting.
Yeah, I find that very interesting as well. For example, I have quite a few friends that are of a similar age to me, some already in their 30s as well. I've got a close friend to me that's single, and she is very much of and I'm sure she won't mind me saying at all, but she is very much of the case of, well, if they haven't got a house, it's a no. I want somebody that doesn't have kids. I want somebody that has this job. I want somebody that drives this car. And it's like, gal, you've got to compromise somewhere, because you're not the full package. Because when you do get to our age, a lot of people do have children because they did it in their young 20s, and unfortunately maybe their marriage hasn't worked out, or alternatively they have still got a life goal that they're sort of building towards, but they just haven't got there yet, because everybody's life takes a different journey.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why the Man in Finance song got so popular, because it's like all the requisites. We want all of this. If we don't have that, we don't want it. But it's true. Like it's when we put so many criteria that someone needs to meet, it's really difficult to find somebody. And I think that we can get into that kind of like vicious circle, right? It's like I'm looking. I cannot find anyone. Everybody has something wrong with them. Maybe it's me, or I cannot find anybody, and then you just get like all
Yeah.
over and again, and make you feel like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be home with my cats and be a crazy cat lady.
I feel like the big part of it is about how somebody makes you feel. Like it
Yeah.
is for me anyway. Like it's how you feel in
Mhm.
somebody's presence, how they make you
Mm-hmm.
feel, whether you feel safe, whether it feel relaxed, whether it's fun. You can't get any of that through interactions online, really, until you're in somebody's presence. And unfortunately, people don't let people get that far if they
Yeah.
don't hit the criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
So
Have
do
you
you
ever?
have
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jasmine.
I was just going to ask if you have any funny stories. I just want to know, like the doctor one, I found that hilarious. Do you have any stories of any dates you've been on that have gone horribly wrong?
Yeah, I have one that's really memorable.
Tell us.
I think I was about 21 or 22. And I remember I was in university at the time in London, and I'd met this guy on an app. Obviously, he wanted to take me to dinner. We went to this really nice, fancy restaurant. And I remember we were sat down. And at that point, I'm not going to lie, I had tried a lot of different foods from around the world. But as you know, there were still a lot of foods that I perhaps could have tried. He was asking me about obviously starters, and he said, well, would you like some oysters? And I was thinking, well, I don't really want to look like I'm silly and that I've never had oysters before. So I thought, oh, well, I'll try it. Well, I'm not really a fan of spicy food either. So he says, you need to put some Tabasco sauce on it. So there's me thinking, oh my God, I'm about to eat an oyster. This looks absolutely disgusting. I'm going to need to cover it in as much sauce as possible to take away the taste. So you can imagine what I did. Tabasco, 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 Tabasco. Necked it back. Oh my God. It was strong. My eyes were watering. My whole face was going red. And I think I ended up spitting it out on the plate.
Did you get a second date after that? No.
And in that moment, I just didn't know what to do. I think I just turned around and went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, misjudgment on my part. I think I put too much.
I also love to see that in your first day you went to a fancy restaurant when we were just going to like the cinema. My doctor didn't take me to a nice restaurant, took me to the cinema. What is
This
He
happening?
wasn't a doctor.
Like, he was not
Wasn't
a
a
doctor,
doctor.
yeah.
Yeah, this guy he was a guy in finance like
He
the
was in
song.
finance.
So you can imagine I wanted to seem like I was educated and like I knew all these different cuisines, and yeah, it just backfired on me massively. And still to this day, when I think about it, my skin actually crawls at the fact that I did that.
So have you had oysters since?
No.
No.
I think I'll serve that one. Next time, if that ever happens, you keep It's sweet. I'll have something.
PTSD with Tabasco and
Yeah.
oysters.
Yeah. So no. Apart from that, though, I don't think I've had any other sort of like bad story. I think that's got that one. That one just takes it for me. That was the worst one. Yeah.
Not even like an awkward
I
date.
have had awkward ones where, for example, yeah, like I've been on the apps before, and I've met with people that I've thought are really, really good looking, and then when it comes to it, you try and start a conversation, and it's like speaking to a brick wall. That's no. I always find that really awkward because I'm a very talkative person, so I feel like I need to bounce off someone.
Yeah.
And some, like, what do they say? Like, is it like pulling blood from a stone? You're trying to be like, come on, like, there's got to be something else. And it's been really, yeah, I've had awkward ones, but yeah, the oyster one, that's up there.
No, I think like as we said, because we're so used to having the time to answer and think about what we're gonna say.
Yeah.
When we meet in person, there is people that just can't. They just cannot do it.
Yeah.
And that's awkward. That is awkward, right? When you are there and you're like there is no sound. This is like trying to think about what to ask to get I don't know, something going.
Reaction. No, I know what you mean. You try and think that you can say something just to get some form of reaction out of them, and it's just not. Actually, I've just thought I went on a dating show on Amazon Prime, and that didn't end up well. So,
did you?
So, yeah, so it was in I think pretty sure it was 2022. It was called Date My Mate on Amazon Prime, and the concept of it was of somebody. So they had these different friendship groups, and they were trying to set up their friend on a date because apparently their friend wasn't a very good dater, and then us, who were obviously like sort of the candidates, we would go through an app and we would swipe who we would think would match with us. I went up to, is it Marylebone in London. It was set up, it wasn't actually a restaurant, but it was set up like it was a restaurant, similar to first date sort of vibe. And again, I hadn't met this guy, and we sat down and we did have a lovely conversation, but the spark wasn't there for me. And it was such a shame because I expressed all about obviously everything that I do for mental health, about pageants, and I did actually shine like a really good light on pageantry within the conversation. They cut all the good bits out to put on TV, and do you know what? Do you know the only piece that they left in the conversation? So have you got any pets? So when I watched it back, I've never cringed so much in myself, like at myself in my whole life. And they literally, the only part of that conversation they kept was me asking, so do you have any pets? And him responding about pets. And that was it.
Editors. That's what editors do, right?
So yeah, after that, I don't think I'd go on a dating show again.
You know who I've been watching? I've been watching Paul Brunson, is that his name? He's from like Celebs Go Dating and stuff. He's like an expert. I think he might be on some of the other dating shows as well. And he does really good podcasts with different celebrities where it's like a deep dive into, it's like almost like a counseling session with them live, and it's like really long dive, goes into their life and their background. And there's some really, really interesting stories. And they often talk about the reality TV behind the scenes and say that it's so like is so twisted to the stories that they want to tell. I feel like they probably had a picture in their head of who they wanted to present you as, and that's the only thing you said that fit their character.
It's a very surreal scenario as well, because you're sat on this tiny little table. Everyone around you is extras, so it's all been set up, and you've literally got a camera in your face about here. And then you're trying to talk and have a normal conversation. And I didn't realise, because obviously I just assumed that everything you see on these dating shows is 100% like reality TV. And then you get there and I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit intrusive. I've got a camera in my face. I'm kind of being told half what to do. And I've got a bunch of extras sat around me. So yeah, really, really strange.
Yeah, and like how do you have like a normal conversation that way, like, or like organic conversation is weird, because I guess you cannot even just suddenly look at the camera because they will tell you off.
Exactly. They'd be like, cut, start again.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. So what apps have you been on? Because as I said, like when I was dating and apps were a thing, I think it was only Tinder back then, but there is now loads.
Yeah. So when I was on the apps, obviously a couple of months ago, I had Tinder, but I think I turned that off after a day because you can tell everyone on Tinder wants like one thing. So I was like, no. So then I moved to Hinge, a little bit more upmarket. So that was doing okay. And then there's actually another one, which is called Luxy, which is more kind of more established individuals, which was
Like the
quite
men in finance.
pretty
Yeah.
much. But it was like more of an elite app where they had to screen you in order to let.
Oh, okay.
But now it's just the case that they let everyone in, so it's not as good as what it was. And then yeah, I just had enough of it all. I was like, I actually
Yeah.
can't be anymore. I would rather meet someone in a coffee shop or meet someone at work or meet someone when I'm away. Yeah, no.
Isn't there one called Bumble where the woman has to message first?
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that one? Have you been on
Yeah,
that?
I did try it, I think about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm still quite an old soul at heart though, and I am a bit of a hopeless romantic, so I do like the man to make the first move, and I know that's just me. I think it's amazing for women who maybe haven't had great experiences in the past to feel more comfort in reaching out to the man first and making their first move. Like, I'm all for that, gal. Like, you go, girl, whatever works for you. But just in my personal eyes, yeah, hopeless romantic at heart. I like the man, the lead.
Yeah. And have you had any experience with someone sliding in your DMs on Instagram? Because I feel like that's also like another route that people are using nowadays.
Yeah. And it makes me laugh a lot because I will have, for example, people that I have dated in the past, they have told me for some reason that they don't think that it's going to work. Then in a month or two, I've seen them get in a relationship. Now they see me living this fabulous jet setting life, fulfilling my dreams, and they still slide into their DMs despite having a girlfriend. And I do kind of think, you need to stop orbiting around my life, sweetie, and focus on your own.
Because how do you trust people nowadays? That's the other thing. Like, how do you
Oh,
trust nowadays?
yeah, you can't. I love a good saying. I love a good analogy. And sorry if I get this analogy wrong, but it's about sometimes the grass isn't always greener. You've got to water your own grass. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
I think people forget that. If you've chosen somebody and you've chosen to love them, you should be nurturing that relationship. You shouldn't be looking elsewhere. And that's just the way I look at it.
100%. I mean, obviously, I live by that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. But also, like, because I think, and we talked about it, like when we were growing up, you started your relationship when you were 17.
That's amazing.
Social media was not even a thing. So it was like a really good time for you to grow in your relationship together without
Yeah.
any external distractions from any part. I think sometimes when you find someone that doesn't have social media is so refreshing.
Yeah.
But there is not that many people out there, and I guess like if you get into a relationship with someone that is a lot on social media,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to be very sure about your relationship, or it's quite difficult to trust someone.
Yeah. No, so in my teens, I had 2 boyfriends. So in my early teens, that was when I met the first one on the train, and that lasted for almost 3 years. And believe it or not, he didn't have any social media, but he really wasn't bothered about me having social media. Like he really didn't care. But social media just didn't really interest him, because I think where he had his own business, he was very much quite focused on that and focused on growing it. And because that was, oh gosh, that must have been about nearly 10 years ago now, and social media I don't think was anywhere near as big as what it is. I think we still had Facebook. I can't even remember
Yeah,
having
just
Instagram.
Facebook. It was just Facebook and a couple of other things. Yeah, and Twitter.
No. And then my second relationship that I was in for 3.5 years, and he only had Facebook, whereas I had Facebook and Instagram. But again, he wasn't really bothered that I had it, and I wasn't really bothered that he had Facebook, because I think where there was an age difference between us, it wasn't really something that he was heavily invested in with social media. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think more of social media is more sort of our generation, and like our millennial generation and then like the Gen Z generation, because it kind of came about as we were sort of growing up.
My husband is very like, well, we're both fairly old fashioned, but my husband like doesn't use social media really. Like he watches YouTube. He like loves to learn how to do things, so he watches YouTube and stuff, and he does. I don't know if he still has an Instagram account, but if he does, he doesn't go on it. And I think he's like uses like Snapchat with his friends. But he's never been much of a social media person, so I don't feel like I've ever thought about it. But then also, I guess because we've been together such a long time, even if he did, I don't think I would think about it. Whether
Yeah.
that's me being naive, I don't know, but I just wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. My fiance doesn't only has like Facebook as well, and I keep sending him like videos on TikTok, and it's like, "Have you seen the video I sent you?" It's like, "I cannot open TikToks," and I'm like, "Damn it!" So I was just like, "Ugh, I just wish you had TikTok so I could just watch all the funny videos that I'm sending you and DIY and all of those things."
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like it's just another world now. I always say, if anyone, like any of my friends or anything, are talking about trying to date now, it's just a minefield. I just think it's so difficult. I think actually that's why, obviously there's not that many great examples, but you do have some couples that come out of Love Island and have done quite well because they're cut off from the outside world for a long period of time. I feel like this is what everyone needs at the beginning of a relationship. It's like you need to be like cut off from everyone else so you can actually focus and get to know each other. That might solve a lot of problems. Rather than, like you say, it's almost like the next day you can get distracted by the shiny things. I feel like it's really difficult now to create a situation where both of you are going to actually invest in
Yeah.
each other.
And like now that you're talking about like that Love Island and stuff, it's very interesting how some of these dating shows, the first few seasons have been quite successful, and the next few ones are not, because I don't think people is looking for love and relationships anymore. I think people think they are, but they really love to just like go like this flower today, this flower today, and this flower today. Because like for example, Love is Blind or Married at First Sight, all of those. I feel like the first seasons always had like really genuine people that were there to find love. And then it has gone downhill from them for like
Yeah,
the whole show.
yeah, I feel like because I remember I watched the first ever Love is Blind and I absolutely loved it. And again, they very lovely, organic relationships. And I think it was about 3 of the couples actually got married. And then as you go on and you watch more of the seasons, I think it might have been the 3rd season maybe I watched. And I remember there was this guy and he was with this girl and he literally turned around to her and went, "You didn't come here for love. You just came here so that you thought you could get sponsorship and marketing deals when you get off the show."
Which is true. Like I think like a lot of people go on the shows for that.
Yeah, I think they do. Because with Love Island, in the beginning, it was just very real people that they chose. It could have been anyone from, I don't know, Jane from Scotland to Andrew from Devon or whoever. And now it's very much, you notice when you look at who they're picking for Love Island and the rumours, oh, is it this influencer? Is it that influencer? Is it that YouTube person? Is it this celebrity's son? Is it this celebrity's daughter? It's just the whole concept, I think, has just changed.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few different like clips of podcasts and stuff where loads of ex-Love Islanders have admitted that I went on it as a business move. I feel like
Yeah.
it's actually become so much of a thing now that that's what they do, that they're all just saying it quite openly as well.
Is the Molly May effect of Love Island.
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm really hoping, that I get married and this is the last and only one, and I don't have to go back into dating because I'm scared. I am petrified.
Yeah.
So, what is the solution? That's what I want to ask you. What do you think? How do we fix this? What were we talking about? Who did it? What? There was an episode where we were talking about was it Freya in Aldi doing the thing in the veg and fruit aisle? What was that?
No,
Do you
yeah,
remember?
like what they did in Spain with
Yes.
Oh,
in
I
in
saw that.
Mercadona with the pineapples. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Do we need to do that? Is
I
that what is needed?
I think we do. I think we need to get people out there, actually meeting people again, instead of people being just so obsessed with their phones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like also now, I mean, and I'm very guilty of that. Sometimes you are having dinner, just going out for dinner, and many times everybody's on their phones. There's not that
Mhm.
much of a conversation, right? So I think we've lost the art of conversation and the art of entertaining each other just with each other, not like with any other external factors.
Yeah. Because you'll sit there, and sometimes you won't even realize you're doing it because you're trying to have a conversation with your friend, and then you'll be like, 1 second, something's come through. Oh, just
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah.
And then there's that constant interruption.
Yeah.
Or it's this on Instagram, or oh, have you seen this on TikTok? Or I think if you're showing people photos and memories around a table, then I think that's fabulous what phones and social media are for. But yeah, it can get very distracting. I think if your phone's just constantly pinging around the table.
Yeah, I'm definitely like a firm believer in no phones in social situations.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's sometimes like circumstances where you need to go on your phone. But if I'm like going to visit somebody, their house, I am not getting my phone out and sitting on their sofa and scrolling through my phone when I've gone to visit them to have a conversation. Like I'm not for that. Um, unless, I mean, everyone left me to go somewhere else, sitting there by myself bored, in which case I would. But I feel like there needs to be like boundaries with using it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do think like as humans, that's what I feel like we actually need real connection with people. And I feel it when I've been somewhere and I've disconnected and I've had a whole day where I've just had in-person human connection. I don't think we're supposed to be taking in so much information all the time. It's exhausting. I feel like we should be present in our lives. Like that's like how it used to be.
Yeah. I think dating as well. This is my absolute pet peeve. Okay. And I just think it's just basic manners. If somebody has taken their time out of their day to meet you, then obviously that means they respect you and equally they value you. Or you would like to think that. So I feel like if you're going on a date, it's just manners to just put your phone down and pay 100% attention to them. I can't stand it. I've been on dates before where they chatting away, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, they'll just get out their phone and be like, oh, I am listening. Oh, yeah, I am listening. And I'll be like, but are you though? And
Are they chatting with someone else?
you just don't know. No. And I just think it's really rude. Or I have equally had more of success stories where, say, for example, somebody calls them and you can see like it's like their mum or their dad and they go, oh, don't worry, it's all right, I'll call them back after. I think that's really nice.
Yeah.
Because it's that they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Which I think, but yeah.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Wow.
So, like, if someone wants to date Amy, type of, well, you've mentioned a little bit, like, someone that is intelligent and stuff, but like, what are the qualities that you are attracted to, and what would be your ideal date?
So I am a bit of a nerd at heart. I know people wouldn't think it. The amount of people that judge me just right off the bat, they hear my Kent Essex accent and think, oh Lord, here we go. And then I tell them all about myself and they go, oh my gosh, there's actually more to this woman than meets the eye. So yeah, so somebody that's intelligent, somebody that always likes to be learning, because I always like to be learning. I think at heart, I am actually like a bit of a big kid. So when I go away, as much as I love amusements and roller coasters, I love going and seeing museums because I think knowledge is power. So somebody that's interested in things like that, somebody that can make me laugh, because we all love a bit of laugh. I think laughter's the best medicine. And ultimately somebody that's just kind and caring, I think. I mean, if they happen to be good looking as well, well, what a bonus.
So we have to cut this bit and put it on our Instagram and ask the followers of the podcast to send matchmaking suggestions. If
Oh,
we could
yeah.
create a romance from this podcast,
Mhm.
what epic would that be?
We can be the friends when we were back in school doing the
Yeah.
matchmaking and facilitating
Mhm.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that. We're gonna do that. So if someone, we find you someone, where does that person need to take you, or what activity do you want to do, or what would be your ideal date?
See, for me, it's something really random like going go-karting. And I know that sounds really out there, but I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. So it would be either like a theme park or go-karting or even something like crazy golf. I love going crazy golf. I don't want to be, as much as I love eating food and I love sitting at restaurants, you can do that anytime. You can go to restaurants with your friends. Like, no, let's do something fun. Let's do something different.
Yeah, and it makes it less awkward. I feel like it would just be a bit awkward, wouldn't it, to just
Yeah.
sit? I feel like at least you can talk about what you're doing and see if they're like, you can see how fun they are probably more if you're
Yeah.
like doing go-karting to see if they're like have fun,
Yeah.
like playful
Yeah.
competitiveness and stuff. Whereas in a restaurant, you maybe don't get that.
No, exactly. And then sometimes in a restaurant it can just get awkward because then you run out of things to talk about, or they're
Yes.
or they're an introvert or
Mm.
they're shy. Whereas I feel like when you're doing an activity, it's a lot easier to bring someone's character out because then you are seeing that
Mhm.
competitive side. So
And would you do that as a first date, or will your first date be? I mean, I guess because we're doing matchmaking, it makes sense, right? But when you're meeting someone, kind of like in an app and stuff, I feel like it's safer to just go for a coffee, like a 1 hour kind of thing. So then, if you don't like it, you can get out, and you're not trapped in a 2 hour and a half movie.
I would not want to go to the movies. That would not be an ideal first date for me, going to the movies. Absolutely not. Because then you would just be stuck there.
That happened to me. That's why I'm saying it. Like, it's just not ideal. So don't do it.
Boring. So don't tell me it was the most awkward date and you got stuck in the movie theatre and you couldn't leave.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it was.
Was the
So,
guy that did the singing.
yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
At the beginning of the movie. So then I had to be like 2 hours and a half there waiting for the movie to finish and thinking, yeah, take me home. Bye.
In my bed with my cats, loving life and a cup of tea. Yeah.
And what can you actually learn about someone in that time that you literally don't talk
Yeah.
whatsoever? Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. That was so random. I don't even know why I agreed to that. I guess I really wanted to watch the movie and he was going to pay for it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Because cinema is expensive nowadays.
yeah. I hope he got you popcorn as well. Who would
Oh.
want like a full meal deal if he's gonna sing? Like large drink, popcorn,
Yeah.
nachos.
I
And
mean,
then
I
I could
didn't
probably
know.
like say, okay, the singing, I can let that go.
I
Yeah.
didn't know he was going to sing. That's the thing. That was the awkward part of things.
What did you do? Did you just sing back or did you just be like, oh, that's nice?
No, I was just literally, I imagine like you're him, right? And this is my ear and you're singing to my ear. I went like this. So like with the light, like with the dark, like, it's dark in the cinema and the light from, I'm pretty sure like I looked scary, but he didn't mind. He kept singing.
Yeah, I would have been freaked out. I would have been like, are you okay?
Yeah,
Do
no,
we
to
need,
me that's awkward.
I just want to watch the film. I don't want to hear your voice.
Yeah, it was not good. Not good at all.
So we are gonna matchmake you
Mm-hmm.
is one of the main items of this. Like the outcome is that dating nowadays is rubbish, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like so someone needs to step in here. We need some like dating events. I don't know, do they still do like speed
Speed
dating? I feel like then,
dating.
yeah,
Yeah.
we need dating events for people.
Like, I mean, we said we need to organize the Lidl or Aldi
Mhm,
dating
mhm.
like they did in Spain. So we need to get that happening. We need some speed dating, but with a twist. Like it needs to be fun as well, not just like people going around. I used to love the Millionaire Matchmaker program. We need
Hell,
someone like that.
that love Millionaire Matchmaker. That used to be brilliant. And also, just something else I was going to ask. So, if we're going to be doing an Aldi or Lidl dating app, what fruit's it going to be this time? It can't be a pineapple.
Yeah, no, we need to
Aubergine.
find something else.
Aubergine.
No, that sends the wrong message,
Yeah,
Jasmine.
in that, no.
We want to avoid the just hooking
That
up bit.
Some fruit.
Which
maybe we
one?
should have something very English, like an apple.
Passion fruit.
Oh,
Passion fruit.
that
Hmm.
would be.
The meeting of the passion fruit and the aubergine.
But is passion fruit something that you can find at any moment, or is seasonal?
I think it might be
I'm-
seasonal.
Yeah, don't test my fruit knowledge.
No.
You know what? I think instead of a fruit, it just has to be like a wine bottle or something like that, placing on a specific part of the trolley, because there's always wine at any time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Send us your recommendations.
Yeah.
Because
Sounds
Jasmine, you
good.
haven't seen that video yet.
No, I need to see it.
You need to
Yeah.
see it's a very clever concept for getting people out there to literally organically meet
Yeah.
people.
I had to say
So-
Spanish people thought about this. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's Valentine's Day, like 2 days. So we need to get this message out quick and do it on Valentine's Day.
Oh, so much pressure, Jasmine. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Oh
maybe
my God.
it's chocolate. I don't know, because like everybody buys chocolates when they go shopping. It needs to be something that people don't usually buy, right? What can that be? We need suggestions. I mean, this episode is going out tomorrow. We still have one day for people to give us suggestions, so then we can just like put it out there and see if someone actually follows through and goes with it. But I always wonder, like, when this happened, how did the message came around? Because this
Yeah.
should have said it to like a couple of people for them people to realize and then film it, right? How do you share this message?
Just this is one of the reasons why social media is good, because you can send it viral on social media somehow via TikTok.
Well, we need to. Okay, let's drop this idea onto our Instagram that we want to organize this organic meeting situation and let people do the magic and figure it out.
Oh yeah, we can do the anonymous inbox for people to suggest things.
Yeah.
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 And let's see what we get.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. We're gonna
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that. Amy, is there anything else that you want to mention on this episode regarding dating that we maybe have not asked you and you think is relevant and people should know about?
I don't actually. This is one for us females. Okay. Just remember, you're all worthy. You're all amazing. You're all deserving. And comparison is the thief of joy. Do not compare yourself to other people. Just because I have had it before, and not just me, but my friends, where they've been dating, they've been ghosted, and then they have literally felt like they're not worthy or there's something wrong with me. And that's just the message that I want to leave with you is comparison is the biggest thief of joy. And just remember, sometimes it's not actually you. Sometimes it's them. Sometimes they're still working through things. Because I know as women, we're very emotional beings, which there's nothing wrong with being emotional. I mean, I love being very animated and emotional, and I love being a woman. But for men, sometimes it can be more difficult. And sometimes they do shy away from their problems and they do avoid their problems, or they're not as forthcoming. So yeah, don't compare yourself to others, because you are not the issue, darlings. You're fabulous as you are.
I feel like this inspired me, Amy, to think of something. I've been doing loads of business things for my business, like watching things, listening to podcasts and stuff. And it's the exact same really when it comes to any area of life, which is you have to just put yourself out there and be okay with getting no's, and it's in all areas of life. But I feel like you always regret the chances that you didn't take, and it's always better to try than to live with regrets and not try. So if there's people that you like want to reach out to, or if you're feeling a certain way, this is something with modern dating that I've
Yeah.
heard, like people don't actually say how they feel, like they're
Mhm.
playing the like full game. Like just put yourself out there, and you are going to get knockbacks, but that's probably
Yeah.
just sending you to something better. But
I
it's the
agree.
same in every area of life. Like, don't hold back. You've got to at least try, right?
Yeah. And it's the same goes similar to pageants as well. Pageants, dating, everything builds resilience in you. So, for example, I know obviously we've all competed in pageants. Oh my gosh, the amount of times we've either lost, we've come as runner up. We were never the bride. We were always the bridesmaid. But eventually, we all got there. One day, we were the bride. And I think it's exactly the same when it comes to dating. Is yes, maybe not now, but in the future, your time will come, and when it's right, it is going to happen, and you will know when it's right.
Yeah. And usually when you're not looking.
Yeah, that happened. I mean, first boyfriend on a train. I wasn't looking for love. I thought I was Miss Sassy, independent, just finished uni, wanted to live life up in the city. And then next thing I know, come along on a blooming train.
You need to catch more trains, Amy.
I
Get off
do.
those planes and on the trains. That's where the love is.
Exactly. I was going to say, if only they had Virgin trains still. I don't know, because I think it changed to Avanti, but otherwise I was going to say I'll be calling up Richard Branson saying, get me off the Virgin trains.
This is what we need to do, like a thing in the sky. Love on the planes. That's where the meet cutes can happen.
Love at first flight.
There we go.
How cute.
Maybe
That
still
would be-
got contacts at Amazon, pitch it. Send it their way.
I'll see what I can do. I'm sure I've got some contacts still for Amazon Prime.
You're going to be the star of the next show. Hopefully they cleavage something more than do you have pets.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. And then when you watch yourself back as well, and you think, oh god, do I sound like that? Do I actually? Is that actually my mannerisms? No, you just got to embrace it.
Yeah. Well, Jasmine, do you want to send us off?
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us, Amy. And actually, sorry,
you.
I thoroughly enjoyed your doctor story as well. That's like made my day. So everybody here, shine bright like a diamond.
Well,
Everybody
So-
shine like a diamond. Diamond.
So thank you so much, everybody listening, and thank you for joining us, Amy. It's been such a pleasure to have you and hear all of your stories. And congratulations on your job and everything you're doing as well. Like, I'm so pleased for you, and I hope the next thing that you can tick off your list is your pilot. That's going to give you flights for life.
that would be lovely. Fingers crossed. And also, well done to you as well.
Thank you.
Who would have thought it? We met a couple of years ago at a pageant, and look at us now.
Actually, we need to talk. You need to hook me up with some flights, please. So I can take you some-
All right, we could discuss after.
But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. I hope whether you are in love, whether you're looking for love, I hope this has inspired you and made you think about like modern dating. I feel like it really is a complicated world out there, but we are here to support, to discuss, to be in your community, a listening ear. If you want to submit anything you want us to talk about, any like dilemmas would be so fun. If anyone has dilemmas, things that are going on in their life and their love life that you want us to give our 2 cents on, then let us know. Make sure you're following us on all our social media platforms at Females Thriving Over 30. Instagram and TikTok is where we are mainly. And we will see you next time on our next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
Happy Valentine's Day.